Hey guys, welcome back to the Leverage Advantage Show. And today we're really honored, grateful, and humbled to have Henry Kaminski Jr. with us. Now, Henry is the founder of Unique Designs by the HMK Group, and it's a full-service graphic design, branding, and marketing company. He's the author of the Amazon bestseller, Refuse to Give Up. He's also the host of the popular Brand Doctors podcast, where he talks about strategies that help entrepreneurs design reputable and profitable personal brands. As a self-taught graphic designer and brand consultant, he's overcome all the odds to build a wildly successful multi-million-dollar business over the past decade. Now, he's worked with a diverse range of business owners and professionals, including my own personal hero, John Bon Jovi, and internet marketing expert, another hero of mine, Russell Brunson, who has named Henry the $1 Million Designer. Ultimately, Henry is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs that need help with converting their expertise and personal brands into scalable business models. Henry, welcome to the show, man.
My man, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate your team reaching out to me.
Yeah, dude, like when I saw you were coming on, I was really excited. Just looking at the stuff that you've done, the people that you've worked with, I just know that the audience is going to get so much from today's conversation.
I'm here to serve, man. I'm here to serve.
Tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, who you serve, man.
Sure. So, again, my name's Henry Kaminski. I own a brand agency called Unique Designs. And 10 years ago, I started out as a graphic designer, just a freelancer, man, just getting out there. I was working in corporate at the time, and you know, it hit the dead end. Like, I was growing out of it. The company was downsizing, and I was getting kind of pushed around. And I said, at 27 years old, 26 years old, I got a master's degree in business management, and nothing was really going in the direction that I wanted it to go. And I found graphic design simply by having a friend show me what graphic design was all about, because at that corporate job, I was a special events coordinator. So I was in charge of raising funds for a charity called the Sudden Infant Death Syndrome of New Jersey. And basically, I needed a whole bunch of marketing materials to promote those events once I would get them booked, right? So one of my buddies sat me down on a Sunday, and I started designing next to him, and watched him design. I didn't even know what graphic design was. And eventually said to myself, wow, this is awesome stuff. Like, I'm going to figure out how to do this on my own. So convinced my boss to get me the Photoshop program so we could start doing the designs in-house. Taught myself how to work design, studied design about a year and a half later. That's when things really started to tighten up at the hospital. And I said, you know what, I'm going to leave. And I left. And that first year I did $248,000 in revenue. I didn't even know it. I really didn't even know it. I mean, my accountant hit me up, around tax season, and he was like, did you know how much you made this year? And I was like, no, what? And he told me the number. I was just, recording everything in QuickBooks. I wasn't paying attention to nothing, because I was a one-man band. I was working 20 hours a day, so it was just get out there and grind. And eventually took the business another 5 years, where things started to get a little crazy because Fiverr came out and all these crazy websites came out. I was actually a Fiverr designer myself, because things were so bad. I was like, if I can't beat them, I'll join them. And I started designing in Fiverr, business cards, doing them for $5 and, trying to upsell any which way I could to try to make what I was making back. And eventually I had this one client who like beat me up over, a business card design that took 6 hours when it should have took 30 minutes. And I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm a commodity, and I need to do something about this. And so I reached out to Russell Brunson as I found him on the internet, literally just Googling. And he really sort of helped me see things from a broader perspective. And brought in some really good consulting on my end. And I didn't even know what digital marketing was. I was just a designer, man. I just created shit and made stuff look awesome. And then I realized, well, that's not cutting it, in 2013. Like you gotta get out of that rat race and you gotta become more valuable to your clients. So I got into more of I've been branding businesses at that point for like 5-6 years. And I just said, I've never talked about it. I've never put my personality out there. And that was one of the things Russell told me. He was like, dude, your designs are just absolutely incredible. But when I go to your website, you're not there. Like you're not existent. You're just another pretty website. And so I went and I started really loving content and content creation and started documenting my work and started sharing with people and my audience, like my journey. And that's when everything just caught fire. And here I am 10 years later with a beautiful branding agency. Now we have 16 people that work under the Unique Designs umbrella. We have different teams that really just focus on their specific superpower. And we've created, for those of you that are born in the 80s, there's that old cartoon called Voltron. We've created this Voltron type of team to really serve our clients at a real high level now. And it's just been a beautiful journey, man. A lot of ups and downs, but I wouldn't replace it for anything.
Man, I love your story, man. There's so much hustle in there. There's so much, belief in what you do and just going for it. Here's the thing, I think when you talk to most entrepreneurs and we talk about brand, right? So many people, maybe they have a slight conceptual understanding of it, but they don't really get it. I think so many people just don't know what branding is. How would you define branding?
So there's a couple different ways you could define it. Marty Neumeier talks about it in his book, the gap in branding is it's a gut feeling, man. It's when somebody connects with you for the first time, that feeling, that perception, that's brand. Like that's what it is. It's that desired perception that you want somebody to have when they interact with you or your product or service or company.
Awesome. And so how do you you went from graphic design and then you leveled up your skills to be able to create a specific result for your clients, for the companies, how did you go from from graphic design to marketing and then branding?
Right. Well, I realized that, you can have the prettiest website in the world. You can have the best logo in the world. That's not going to get you too far. Okay. If Steve Jobs says it all the time, used to say it all the time, I should say, design needs to be functional. Design needs to work for you to get you a desired end result. Right. And so how I got the brand doctor sort of tag associated with me is because of the way that I do work. And I work just like a medical professional would work, just like a doctor would work. I diagnose, I prescribe, I apply, and I reapply as needed. And so I take this beautiful design work and I craft it in such a way that it will help them connect with, when I say them, my clients, connect with their audience in a genuine and relatable way. Because here's the thing, it sounds so cliche, but if people don't know, like, and trust you, you don't have a business. And so that's what we got to focus in on. Branding is relationships. It's relationships as well. And if you don't build the proper relationship between your brand and your audience, you're not going to have a business. And that's how branding affects your bottom line and is directly impacting your bottom line. Because my motto is this: the quality of your brand determines the quality of your clients. Go cheap on your brand and you'll attract cheap clients. It's just how it works.
Awesome, man. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like, here, I'll share with you a little bit of our experience. So we had a client once, and this man, is very well established in his business, right? So he used to work with even with Tony Robbins, right? As part of Tony Robbins' team, but he didn't have an online brand at all. So even though this man had like great credentials, you know, and we built a great site that would normally convert. Now his site didn't convert at all, because here's the thing: when somebody goes on and they see your face, the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna look you up. And if you don't have an online brand, if you don't have anything that talks about you, then people are just gonna lose that trust. And that was probably one of the worst projects and worst conversions that we had ever had. So, you know, people need to understand that branding is so important. And it's so difficult to quantify, I think, for a lot of people, because, and maybe especially in Asia, everybody's looking at return on investment or a direct return. But you can't. From, you know, when we talk about branding, what you're looking at is being able to charge more. You're looking at increasing your conversions. It's not like, you know, it's not about me spending $20,000 now and I'm going to be able to make $20,000 tomorrow in the first month. Right? It's about being able to charge more, making another $250,000 in the next 2 years. But you gotta let it sit. You gotta harvest it over 12, 24 months. So I really love what you said, man.
You know, here's my question. You know, how much is your brand worth? You know, how much is your brand worth to you? Is it worth 50 grand? Is it worth 60 grand? Is it worth 100,000 grand? Is it worth $1 million? And when I ask my clients that, I say, so what's the number? And so they throw out some arbitrary number. And I say, okay, here's what I want you to do. In the next 365 days, I want you to invest that number back into you and see how you feel at the end of the year and see how much business that will bring you. Because if you're, can I curse?
Go right ahead. Go be yourself. You know, if we gotta bleep it out, then we'll bleep it out for you.
listen. Like, if you think, if you're bitching and moaning about spending $5,000 for some discovery work, some diagnosis work, right? Then that tells me that you don't believe in what it is that you're really doing, because it tells me that you don't think that you're going to be able to make that $5,000 back. And that tells me right away, probably not a good fit, right? And that's what it comes down to, Faisal. Like, there's no right or wrong in the world. Honest to God, there's no right or wrong in the world when it comes to this stuff. You're either a good fit or you're not a good fit. Listen, there's a lot of more affordable firms out there to work with. And if you want to work with them and take them on and engage them, go for it. But I'll be back. I'll be right where I am 6 months from now when you come back and you have to redo it all because it's not converting. And I hate to say it, but it's sort of that. It's the truth. And one of the things that my clients love about me the most is that I give it to them straight. And one of my biggest things is, if I have to sugarcoat things, then I'm really doing you a disservice. And when I give it to you straight and show you your blind spots, you can take action and change it, or you could continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Again, it all comes down to choice. So when I'm working with clients and they come to me and say, oh, I need a new website, I need a new logo, I need a new this, I go, do you? I go, how many patients go to doctors and think that they have strep throat, but they have pneumonia, right? How many people, or the opposite, they think they got pneumonia and it's just a little sniffle, right? And so a lot of entrepreneurs come to me with this self-diagnosis, and 9 times out of 10, they're wrong. And so that's why I think consultative, I took the consultative route the past couple of years, is to show people that there's a bigger picture here. And I think because we're so tight inside of our business, because we're so close to it, we don't see it. We don't see it. And so we need that outside perspective.
Awesome, man. You know, that really reminds me, like the process that we take in our business is very similar. We sit down with you, we ask you a couple of questions, we diagnose what your problem is, then we tell you what your problem is and how you got to fix it, right? And like just this afternoon, I was having lunch with a particular prospect, right? So he came to me and he says, you know what? I really want some marketing done for my business. And I asked him a couple of questions about his business, and he says, well, we target schools, right? And we target schools, and I'm working 12 hours a day. In the morning, I'm messaging schools and trying to get business. In the afternoon, I'm teaching in schools, and then we just repeat and recycle that. I'm telling this guy that, bro, your problem is not marketing. Your problem is you got to get somebody to do the shit you don't want to do, right? Like going reaching out to schools, because right now you're tapped out. You're 100%. Your business isn't going to grow. Right. So, like, and that's the thing that they appreciate the most, because if you pussyfoot around the real problem, it's not serving them. So I told him straight, right? So, and he said, yeah, but it's so difficult for me to find somebody I trust to go and do these things. And I said, and that's why you're not making $200,000 a year, right? And I said, and then his business partner was like, that's exactly it, man. I appreciate you telling it straight to his face, because I think everybody else is like, so afraid to tell him. So I completely agree with you, man. Let's talk about branding for say small businesses. What is the first thing? Like, you as a doctor, you sit down, you ask them a couple of questions. What are some of the things that businesses need to be aware of when they start thinking about developing their brand?
Well, definitely specialize. And did I say specialize? Like when you focus on one specific specialization, you will be deemed as a subject matter expert over time. And that is why I developed the Brand Doctor name. That's why I developed the Brand Doctor brand. And that's why I've been getting inquiries consistently. Because people come to, you're the branding guy. You're the guy that's going to help me connect with my audience. You're the guy that's going to help me grow this thing and make it look like the brand that I'm proud to promote, one of my clients said the one day. And I said, yeah, that's me. But when I was making that transition, I was getting coached, and I would have to say, it wasn't Russell, it was another individual, but they had me out there doing Facebook Lives talking about like nothing to do with branding. It was like my personal life and stuff, right? So my wife started to get questions from our friends like, what is Henry doing? Like, is he not a designer anymore? Like, is he trying to be like a motivational speaker now? Like, what's his deal? And I realized that I was sharing all of this like beautiful inside work from me, but I wasn't tying it back to my specialty. So I started tying it back to my specialty, and that's when the bell started to ring. And so I specialize in, helping entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. And a lot of folks out there are forgetting one thing. They're forgetting about telling their audience why they're doing what they're doing. So I'm a big Simon Sinek fan. I don't know if you are, but Simon Sinek is I got to see him a couple of months ago in New York City. And, some of the stuff that he was talking about just rattles my cage in a good way, right? But he said, people buy why you do things, not how you do things or what you're doing.
I love Simon Sinek.
I just been on a mission, man. I mean, if I could share with you a quick personal story, like, my parents tried to have a child for 16 years before they had me. My mom had some medical stuff going on, and back in the early 70s, and they didn't have the technology that they have today. And so they tried for 16 years to have a child. And I don't know about you, man, but that's a long time to try something and have it not work, right? But they kept at it, and eventually they found the right doctor, and the doctor helped them do what they needed to do, and bam, here I come. And about 2 years later, I get this. My mom walks into my room, and in my crib, there I lay, blue in the face, non-responsive, like about to die. rushes me to the hospital. They find out what's wrong. They bring me back to life. And I say to myself, I hear that story being told by my mom as I'm growing up. And I'm saying to myself, I've been put here for a reason. And that's to help people find their purpose and use my God-given talent. And that God gave me graphic design. He gave me creativity. And take that and do good with it. And that is my why. And when people, and I have that story documented on my website. So if you want to check it out, it's at uniquedesignswithaz.net. And there's the whole timeline. I give it to you in 9 minutes. And you can see exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's what small businesses need to do in 2018. Why? Because the competition is thick. The patience level that in audiences and markets are way tiny, because there's 1,000 people that are doing what you're doing. So how do you differentiate yourself? You got to show them why.
That's awesome. Well, for one, I really love Simon Sinek. Always begin with why. I mean, there's so much that you talked about there that we can really go deep into. Like, for example, specialization and really going deep into a niche and becoming a domain expert. You know, so many people. I don't know whether it's an Asian thing or whether it's something that you experience as well. But they're so afraid to say, you know, we're specializing in this. And there's this huge fear of missing out that everybody else doesn't come to them. But what they don't realize is when you're known for that one thing, where everybody that wants that one thing will come to you. But everybody else that wants that same thing that may not necessarily be in that target market will come to you as well. And so you know, that's one of the challenges that actually it frustrates me a little bit when I tell people, you know, you gotta choose one side of the fence to be on, right? It hurts to sit on the fence, right? And if it doesn't hurt you, I'm telling you, it's gonna hurt, right? If you're sitting on a white picket fence, that hurts, right? So they and then we tell them, like, all right, just trust me and just stake your flag in the sand and say, I'm the best at this. Nobody else is better than me. And people will come to you. But they're so afraid. It's like, what? Well, for one, in Asia, we need to be humble. Right? And this is what people are taught us. I can't say I'm the best. Who says, you know, just say you're the best. Nobody else is saying they're the best. Say you're the best and live up to it, right? And then, you know, I
love that.
And so that's exactly what I tell a lot of my clients, right? Like, you know, if you know, some of them are, say, aesthetic clinics, right? And so, but, you know, they have such a wide range of treatments. But if you're the best at one of them, forget everything else. If they want those treatments, they'll come and get it for you. But be known for one, and then you can serve them with everything else. So I really love what you said there, man.
And here's another way you could look at it. You know, when you go to, you know, say you need surgery done, right? Would you go to a breast surgeon to get your knee operated on? No. You know, would you go to an internist or a family doctor to get your tonsils removed? No. You would go to that specialist because that's all they do. You know what I mean? So who are you going to have more confidence in? The guy that works on the whole body or the guy that just works on tonsils, right? I want you to visualize that for a second, right? And then who gets paid more, the generalist or the specialist? Absolutely. And ask yourself that question.
Absolutely, man. Share with me, man. What excites you most about your industry?
Oh man, so much. You know, as a creative, the first thing that comes to mind is you work with such different people. Like no one client is the same. They may be in the same industry, they may be in the same niche, but no one person is the same. And what I really truly love about the industry is me having the opportunity to work with other like-minded, go-getters, enthusiastic, motivated entrepreneurs that want to create a brand that helps other people. And so I was asking one of my colleagues yesterday, I get a lot of fitness clients, a lot of personal brands in the fitness industry. They have 1, 2, 3 million followers on Instagram. They're doing over $1 million plus in revenue a year. Some's doing that a month. And I said, why am I attracting those types of client? And I said, these people are so motivated to help people live healthier lives. It's congruent with the values that you have inside of you and your brand. It's you want to take your superpower and help other people. And that's what they're doing. And so, I look at my client roster and I see a lot of fitness industry and a lot of fitness stuff. And I say, that's why. So never getting the same person twice is what really keeps me going every day.
That's awesome. And here's the thing I love about you is that you're so mission driven, right? And for me, I relate to that as well, because I believe that we were all put into this world for a reason, right? We're not just meant to be here to be a carbon footprint, like live for 80 years, having used a bunch of energy and then die. And one of the things that you mentioned that I really resonate with is that everybody has a superpower, right? And it's just, and for a lot of people, it's their job or it's their mission to find out what that is. The earlier you find that out, that, all the best you're going to rule. But, I think a lot of people walk on this earth, first of all, never knowing that they have a purpose, never finding that purpose. And then a lot of people never find their superpower as well. Right. So, that, and it's lovely to know that there's somebody on the other side of the world that thinks that same way. Share with me though, what do you think is the best advice you've ever received, ever?
Oh man, there's so many nuggets, there's so many nuggets. God. Self-awareness. I think Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this a lot. Self-awareness is your super tool, if you will. Understanding what self-awareness is and being able to know who you are, what you're good at, what you're not good at, delegating and outsourcing what you're not good at versus taking on what you love to do. When you take on what you love to do and you do it every day, it's not work. And people see it, and people see how passionate you are about it. And that's what resonates with them. That's what excites them. That's what drew you guys to me, and that's what I want people to pay attention to, is knowing who you really are and being that. Because I spent a lot of my late teens, early 20s trying to be something I wasn't, and it didn't get me far at all. I lost family members. I have family members that still don't talk to me. I have friends that sort of stopped talking to me because they realized that this wasn't you. Like, this isn't the Henry that we grew up with, or this isn't the Henry that you think you are. This is how you're really coming across to us. And when I changed all of that and started to become really authentic to who I am, I started to attract a completely different person in my life. Hence how I found my wife. Hence how I found business partners. Hence how I find all my clients now. And my clients are great clients. Again, we don't work with everybody. We get inquiries all day long. It's tough sifting through the ones that you want, because they're not bad people. They're just not a good fit, And so that's the biggest piece. That's the greatest piece of advice I've ever gotten. But I've gotten a piece of advice recently that I want to share with your audience and share with you.
Yeah.
That just rang my bell. He said, you have to hire who you trust, and you have to trust who you hire. That, if you can make that a commandment in your life, a proclamation in your life, you will find the right people to work with, and you will get the job done.
Oh man, that is really, really awesome. That's some amazing advice. I love it, man. We're coming towards the end of the interview, and I just want to ask you a couple of quick fire questions. So, you know, just share with me what comes to you right at the top of your mind when I ask you these, all right? First question, actually, we don't have that many because I've already asked you one, but share with me one of your personal habits that you strongly believe contributes to your success.
Constantly learning. Constant learning.
Awesome. And what book would you recommend as a must read?
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Man, that's a brilliant book. For me, that's my favorite book. Is you could change the title to just Life, and it would make sense.
Yes, I agree.
All right, tell me, man, like, how do you unwind? You know, you run a successful business. You're serving multi-million-dollar clients. How do you unwind?
I spend time with my 6-month-old son. As some people might say, how is that unwinding? Right, but it's spending time with my friends, my family, traveling. I like to travel quite a bit with my family. We go to Aruba. We go to peaceful destinations, and I spend time with nature, man. Nature will tell you a lot of things about yourself, about the world. Yeah. And so that's how I unwind.
Awesome. As I age gracefully, I hope, I also find that, you know, I think the thing that I value the most is peace. You know, being at peace with yourself, being at peace with the world, with the environment. That's the thing that I value most. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show, sharing your knowledge and your expertise with the audience. If people want to find out more about you and what you do, where can they go?
Sure. So there's a couple places. You could go to my YouTube channel. You just type in Unique Designs. I'll pop right up. On Instagram, you could check out The Brand Doctor. So it's The Brand Dr. On Twitter, the_brand_dr. Facebook, just Henry Kaminski Jr. And my website is uniquedesigns with a Z at the end, .net. And I just want to say thank you for having me on the show, man. I appreciate your team reaching out, and I appreciate spending some time with you today. I didn't know you were in Singapore, so I was like, wow, this guy's all the way across the world. And the beauty of technology and social media and all that stuff has just made this world so much smaller. So I appreciate being on the show, man.
Thank you so much for your time. Again, it's been an honor. We're very humble. We're very grateful to have you on. You have a nice day, and we'll definitely let you know when this is out. Thanks, man.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Bye.
Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, check out a relevant video here, and don't forget to subscribe to us for more marketing tips, techniques, strategies that are working for us, or just more behind the scenes fun. See ya.